All right, it is almost 7 o'clock, so we'll start our meeting here in a moment. I'm going to give it a little bit more time to see if some more people want to join us. So just sit back, hang out for a little bit. Also wanted to go ahead and start up just to make sure that everything is streaming okay. If you are able to, and you can hear me clearly, can you put me a note in the live chat bar? Should be off to your right on your computer or maybe somewhere on your phone. Can you hear me okay? Anybody out there? Well, no response yet. There you go. All right, so I got one response. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this is my first time doing anything like this, so I am trying to get accustomed to what all YouTube can do. Okay, I got you. So about 30 seconds behind. We'll start promptly at 7:05. 1 second. Oh, I got you. I'm getting text messages too, so yeah, that'll work. We can use that as well. I feel like you should have some elevator music playing in the background as we're waiting on other people to log in. So far, I see we've got 7 people viewing, so it's always a plus. I tell you what, let's just go ahead and get started. For anybody who may join us here in the next few minutes, they can go back and watch the beginning. Really, all I want to do to start this evening off is just to, let you know right out of the gate that this is a first for me. So if for some reason I lose internet connection or something goes down or something messes up, like I said, Miles has already mentioned that there's a 30-second lag time between, I guess, what I'm saying and what's posted on the side over here. I apologize for that. I've never done anything like this before. So this is kind of a test run. But I will say the reason why I wanted to try this parent meeting simulcast was because I recognize that everybody has busy schedules, right? We've tried to do parent meetings on Sunday afternoons after Sunday morning worship service here at Fairview. And we usually get a number of parents that come to those meetings, but it's always rushed. You know, we got to have to rush through some of the things that I want to relay to you all. We have to rush through some of the questions and stuff that come up because everybody's ready to get home. They have other plans. They got other things that are going on that day. And then if I was to ever try to plan a meeting during the middle of the week like tonight and actually have the meeting physically here at Fairview, it would be even more difficult because of ball schedules, homework for students, other obligations as a family. And so the reason I wanted to try this tonight, it was honestly to see if it was possible. to see if we could do a simulcast parent meeting where I can relay information to you as best as possible, and I can answer some questions through the chat bar. And then at the end of the day, honestly, have more people leave better informed about what's going on in the Fairview Student Ministry. And so this is why I'm attempting this tonight. And I ask that you'll bear with me. It's a little bit awkward staring at a small camera on my laptop to do this meeting. But hey, this is the generation we're in now, right? Before we go any further, I want to pray, and then I'm going to start going over some of the stuff that was in the simulcast parent meeting notes. That's really the agenda for tonight. I just want to walk through the stuff that I provided in the youth room and outside the youth room for parents. If you didn't grab one of those packets, don't worry. There's still plenty downstairs. You can pick one up the next time you're at Fairview. Pick one up this Sunday morning. But that's my goal tonight, is basically just to walk through that. Like I said, though, before we go any further, I just want to spend some time in prayer, because that's our main focus in student ministry. So there's no reason why it shouldn't be a focus tonight. So let's pray. Father God, I do thank you for technology. I thank you for just the ability that we have to be able to connect through sources like this, and to host meetings like this. Whenever, 20 years, 30 years ago, it would have been impossible. We couldn't have done a simulcast meeting like this. We would have had to have been there physically, but because of technology, we're able to connect in multiple ways. And so I'm so thankful for that. I am thankful for what you're doing in the student ministry here at Fairview. I'm thankful for our students and their desire to grow. And I ask that you'll just bless everything that takes place tonight. Bless our time as we look at the schedule, as we look at the events ahead, and as we prepare for what's going to take place, as we prepare for, honestly, for more of your blessing, more of what you're going to do in the student ministry here. We love you, praise you. It's in Christ and I pray these things. Amen. All right. So like I said, the whole point behind tonight was to try to reach as many parents as I possibly can. And also, if for any parents that might miss this simulcast, you can go back and you can watch the video later on. So it's going to be recorded. It's going to be on YouTube. You'll be able to access it. So for any of you that are watching right now, if for some reason you have to leave or get up or go, it's fine. The beautiful thing about YouTube is that all of this is going to be, it's live streamed now, but it's recorded later. So you can go back and see if there's something you missed. Maybe don't go back and quote me on something if I said something wrong, but you can go back and check if there's something you missed and you want to get clarification. You'll have that ability through Facebook, or not Facebook, I'm sorry, through YouTube. First things first, we just want to look at the simulcast parent meeting notes. Hopefully you grabbed one of these packets in the past few days, whether it was yesterday, Wednesday night services, or Sunday. Hopefully you grabbed one of these, because this is really the outline I'm going to follow tonight. First thing that's on the list is Wednesday night youth group. I don't know if you know this or not, but our Wednesday night youth group has been growing and growing tremendously. We've actually been growing over the past couple of years. The end of last year, we were getting to the point where we started outgrowing the room that we were in. This fall, when we kicked off the fall in August, we already had a packed room. We've had a couple of events that took place, a couple of just Wednesday nights where we had to pull seats out because we had so many students there, which is just amazing. It's amazing to see what God is doing in the lives of our students. Their desire to reach their friends with the gospel and to invite them to youth group activities. It's just amazing to see that. But because of that, we've had to actually enter into some discussions about what's next. Because the truth of the matter is we couldn't stay in that small space because we had kind of like plateaued. There's no room to grow in there. And we want to always have some room for growth. And so because of that, over the past couple of months, we've had some discussions I've talked with the deacons. They've put their heads together, and we've actually come up with a plan for what's next in student ministry here at Fairview. And that next step, if you haven't heard this yet or not, is we're going to be tearing down the wall between the youth room and Brother Carter's Sunday school class. And we're going to be expanding into that space, which is really exciting. I've talked to a few students about it. Some of them know, maybe all of them know. But we've talked about it. They're super excited about it. But I tell you, because I also want you to join in on that excitement. It is exciting that we have to tear down a wall to make space for the students that are coming on Wednesday night. That is an amazing thing, and I can only envision more and more growth as we begin to go through this process. But it's on our list because those are some future room changes that's going to take place, and I'm going to need some parents to help out with some of the remodeling. We'll be tearing down that wall. We'll be doing some painting in there, repositioning the room. And so just kind of give you an FYI, a heads up that over the next couple of months, you'll be seeing some changes take place in that room. And you might hear me or have me contact you to find out how you can help out with those changes. So that's what I mean by room changes on our list for tonight. The second thing you'll see on there is a youth group Parents Adopt a Month program. I'm not sure if any of you really know what I mean by this. Maybe you read a few of the notes and said, okay, I kind of get it. The idea behind that is because we are growing so much in the student ministry here at Fairview, we've got to have more adult support. Over the past couple of years, we've had Jerry Green. He's been in there for the last 3 years helping out with the youth worship band, which has been just phenomenal. He's done a great job in assisting with that. And we've also had Melissa Brewer. She's been in there as well, helping out, just being a support system for the youth group. But both of those adults have had to step back. Jerry is kind of stepping back and taking a break from youth group and giving his girls a little bit of space. Melissa's been working another job, so she's had a hard time being there on Wednesday nights. And because of that, I'm left in a youth room full of a bunch of students by myself. And that's just not good. We want to make sure we have some more adults in that space with us. And so whenever you see Youth Group Parents Adopt a Month program, the idea behind that is to try to encourage parents to begin coming into youth group and sitting in with these students, especially as we expand into that other room. As the youth group grows, we need more and more adult support. And so what I want to do with that is just very simply is I'm asking for 2 adults, 2 parents to volunteer each month to come in and sit in with the students during youth group time on Wednesday nights. And so essentially what you would do is you would just sign up. There's a sign-up sheet outside the youth room right now. You would put your name down, say, for like the month of February. And then during the month of February, all you would do is just come in and sit in with the students, hang out with them, talk to them a little bit, encourage them a little bit, maybe even pray with them if they're going through something. But you would just be a parent support system for the student ministry for that month. And so it's just a month-long commitment for what, 4 Wednesday nights, maybe 5 Wednesday nights. We're going to sit in and do that. And I'm asking that 2 would do it a month. So it can be a married couple. It can be husband and wife that comes in and does it together. Or you can just come in as a single and say, hey, yeah, I just want to support this month. I want to be in there with the students and encourage them in everything they're doing on Wednesday nights. And so you'll hear a little bit more about that in the future. But right now, I want you to start considering maybe a month. You've got February, March, April, and May that's coming up. Consider volunteering one of those months, being that parent support system for our youth group, that parent support system that we need. And I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you know what? I know my teen does not want me inside that youth room with them. And I get it. I completely get it. But that's why it's just a month. It's just a month. And I will tell you that even though your teenager will say they don't want you in there, it speaks volume to see parents come in and sit with students during a Wednesday night service, encourage students during a Wednesday night service, worship alongside students. It speaks volumes to these teenagers. Your own child might be kind of embarrassed by it at times, but I'm telling you, the other kids in there, they appreciate it whenever other parents care like that. And so I remember whenever I was a teenager, whenever I was in youth group, I mean, I don't want my mom and dad there all the time hanging out with us and being at every event. But I did appreciate the times that they were there because they knew what was going on. And to me, it showed me that they cared about what I was doing in the student ministry, not just that they signed me up for stuff, but that they were actually there from time to time supporting and helping out. And so I would encourage you as parents, consider a month that you can adopt the Wednesday night youth program and just come in there and sit with these students and hang out with them during worship. I will clarify, I'm not asking you to lead in worship. I'm not asking you to teach. I'm not asking you to do announcements or play games like that. I'm just asking you to be there. Really, just to be there, to be somebody who's there encouraging the students. All right, so that's Wednesday night youth group. The second thing, or the next thing on our list in the simulcast parent meeting notes is there's an updated spring summer calendar that has been released last, I believe it was August or September, whenever we had our last parent meeting in the youth room. I released a calendar very similar to this. So it's just all the events that we have planned from August through May, actually from August to July of 2020. I released that last year, but there's always a possibility that some changes are made. And so I wanted to draw your attention to a few changes. You'll see the youth bowling trip, 11:30 a.m. Well, that was this past Monday, so you can just scratch that. Don't worry about it. We have added the Fairview golf tournament. We didn't know when the golf tournament would take place in August, but now we do know. We have a date set for that. On this yellow sheet, though, there's a correction that needs to be made. It says May 19th on this yellow sheet. The golf tournament is actually on May 16th. So it is correct on the purple form. So the calendar that you would have received in your packet does actually have May 16th listed. It's, of course, a Saturday that we're doing this. Our golf tournament is always a huge success, a huge fundraiser for us in helping kids get to camp. And so I want to ask you, please mark your calendar. Please mark your calendar for that, and be prepared to help out wherever needed. That's May 16th. The next thing updated on our calendar is July 4th through the 10th is the international missions trip to Belize. Didn't have that date in the fall. We do have that date now. I know we've already done signups and stuff for it, but the reason I wanted to make you aware of it is because we've got a number of students that are going on this trip, families that are going on this trip, and I want to ask you just to simply pray. Go ahead and start praying now for Belize. Start praying now for what's going to take place during that missions trip. So put it on your family calendar. Put it on your phone calendar, just so that you're aware of when it's taking place and you can begin praying for it. But one thing that's not on this list, though, under that spring summer calendar section, is the youth overnight lock-in. So we'll go back to this list of events that's taking place. February 7th, we have a youth overnighter or lock-in scheduled. We're actually going to postpone that. I was talking to some students the other day, and they were like, man, wasn't it just like yesterday that we had that massive lock-in take place? And it does feel like it was just yesterday. The lock-in was back in, towards the end of November or middle of November. It's only been a couple of months, and we're already got another one on the schedule. And so because of everything else that's going on and Disciple Now that's about to come up, that February 7th youth overnight or lock-in is going to be postponed. We may try to put it back on the schedule in April, but right now I just want to make you aware. You can scratch that off your list or mark through it, whatever you need to do. Some of your children, your teens may be upset that it's postponed, but please help me communicate that to them. I'll talk about it on Wednesday nights, of course, but help me communicate that to them that we've just got a lot going on in February. And as we're preparing for Disciple Now, and with it being so close to the other one, it would be wise. I believe it'd be wise for us to put that back to maybe April. So that's the updated spring summer calendar for 2020. If you have any more questions, you can put it in the comments section or text me your questions, and I'll answer those here at the end of our simulcast tonight. The next thing that's on our list to talk about is Disciple Now. It is March 7th through the 8th. Of course, you see there in the notes that there's going to be a flyer and registration forms. They're going to be coming available in the coming weeks. But for right now, I just want to make sure you're putting it on your calendar, and I want to start talking to you about possibly helping out with Disciple Now. It is a large event that we do right here in Limestone County. If you're not aware, I work with other youth pastors all across Limestone County to host this event. We have hundreds of students show up to it. They spend the entire weekend diving into God's Word, building relationships with one another. We've had a great time over the past few years. All of the students who have went have always benefited from it, always talked positively about it. And so I want to make sure that you have it on your calendar, and I want to give you a little bit of just some information about it. The past couple of years, so it is an event that takes place from Friday to Sunday morning. Students spend the entire weekend together. They go to two main worship events, one on Friday night and one on Saturday night. But when they're not there, they're hanging out at host homes. They're hanging out here at Fairview, or they're doing missions projects. And the missions project is probably one of the things that's really exciting for me this year. Of course, everything else I look forward to. I look forward to the discipleship time. I look forward to the worship time that we have with these students. But the missions project this year is going to be a little bit different. In years past, we've kind of went and done our own project. We've actually painted the halls here at Fairview. We've been down at Camp Helen doing some cleanup and stuff. But this year, we're going to be working with other student ministries to help build beds for kids here in Limestone County. I was talking to some of our students about the other night. One of the things that many of us don't realize is there are a number of kids, even teens, that go home at night and actually sleep on the floor of their room, or share a bed with a sibling because they simply don't have enough beds. Their parents can't afford it, and so they make do with what they have. Well, there's this ministry that we're going to be partnering with, Dear Disciple Now, that seeks to meet that need. They talk with schools, they talk with the school systems, they find out, they get names of kids or families that are in need of these beds, so that the families do request it. They communicate with them to find out, make sure the need is there, it is present, and then they work with local churches to help build those beds. One of the things we'll be doing during the weekend Disciple Now is building those beds. We'll be working with this ministry. They come in, they have all the tools that you need, they have all the templates that you need, and they give all the instructions for it, and you're able to, throughout the day, build a number of beds, cut out a number of beds, prepare a number of beds, paint the beds, everything. And then this ministry goes and delivers them. It's very private. So nobody is embarrassed by the fact that they need a bed or anything like that. They don't have their peers coming to the house and delivering it. But for our students, they get to do some very tangible work to care for some fellow students here in Limestone County. So it's going to be a really neat work project that we get to do this year. And I will tell you that one of the youth pastors in our network here in Limestone County, he's done it in the past, and he said it was just an amazing time. That their church, responded really well to it. It was just incredible. I think they built like 50 beds through the course of the day. He said it was incredible, very impactful to know that they were filling a real world need through serving that day. But that's going to take place at Disciple Now weekend. So the Disciple Now weekend, again, it goes from Friday to Sunday morning. Students spend the entire weekend together. They enjoy great fellowship. They enjoy a great time of worship. Maybe this is my plug for Disciple Now as well. If maybe your teen's on the fence, or maybe you're on the fence about encouraging your teenager to join, here's my plug for Disciple Now. We've got a couple of great speakers that's going to be there this year. Drew Hogan, he's a youth pastor up at, I believe he's over at the Grove now, over towards Madison, the very far east side of Limestone County. And the speaker for Friday night, it's me. So hopefully that might encourage you to come and be a part of the Disciple Now. I get the honor of speaking this year to all the students of Limestone County that's going to be there. And I'm really excited about that, humbled by that, because it will be one of the largest crowds. I spoke to large crowds before, but it will be one of the largest crowds I've ever spoken to. super excited about, super pumped. And so I hope that maybe we'll have a good showing from Fairview there to laugh and poke and make fun of me later on whenever I fall off the stage. Anyways, so that's Disciple Now. Now, I tell you about the event. I tell you about everything that's going to go on because I want you to see that it's an exciting weekend. A lot of great stuff. Students are going to grow in their faith. They're going to be challenged. They're going to grow in their knowledge of God's word. All of the above. It's phenomenal. But that weekend doesn't happen without help. We have to have parent support for that weekend. And so with that, I want to draw your attention to the blue piece of paper that you would have received in your parent packet if you picked one up. On that blue piece of paper, you're going to see the bowling event at the top. You can mark that out. You see the overnight lock-in. You can mark that out. But the next event on there is Disciple Now Weekend, March 6th through the 8th. I need volunteers for this weekend. I've got 2 families that have already informed me that they will open up their house to us. So I've got 2 host homes that are already secure for that weekend, but I need a couple of more host homes because if we have more students attend this year, which I expect that we will, I would really like to see, instead of having a large group of guys in one home and a large group of girls in the other home, I'd really like to divide those groups up and have 4 groups, have 2 groups of girls and 2 groups of guys. The reason why is because in a weekend like this, if you can shrink the groups a little bit, discussion, it's a lot better in those situations. Students are more apt to talk. They're more apt to ask questions, not feel embarrassed. And so I would really like for us to have 4 host homes this year, 2 homes that will host the girls and 2 homes that will be hosting the guys. So if you would like to open up your home to the student ministry this year, please let me know. You can text me, you can email me, you can talk to me on Sunday. But if you would consider being a host home, please let me know. The next thing on that list, it says leaders. I need leaders this year. Now, a leader at Disciple Now is an adult that basically hangs out with students throughout the weekend. They're here that Friday night, and they spend Friday night all day Saturday, and then Sunday morning as everybody gathers back at Fairview. They're with them the entire weekend long, encouraging students, praying with students, helping facilitate some discussion in small groups. But I need 4 leaders for this weekend. In years past, we've only had 2 groups. So we've had a female group and a male group. I was the leader for the male group and Jennifer was the leader for the female group. But as you could probably guess, that is becoming increasingly more difficult with Jennifer. She's not a shoo-in for being a leader this year. I need another female leader to step up and say, I would love to spend the weekend with these students, going with them to the host homes, helping facilitate some of that small group discussion. I would love to spend the weekend going to Lindsay Lane is our host church this year, going to Lindsay Lane and doing the time of worship and the time of teaching and all that stuff there. I would love to spend that weekend. I need a couple of female leaders, and I need a couple of male leaders that'll step up and do that. Reason I say a couple of male leaders is because since I'm speaking this year, I want to make sure that I don't have too much on my plate this weekend. And so I would really love to see a couple of dads step in and say, look, I'll be the male leader. I'll be one of the male leaders for Disciple Now this year and help facilitate that discussion and help lead those small group times. I'll help do that. And so if you will, please pray. Pray and consider being a leader for Disciple Now this year and let me know. Let me know as soon as possible. Now, whenever I say pray, pray and ask for God's direction now. Please don't come to me the weekend before Disciple Now and say, hey, I feel like being a leader now. I would really appreciate it if you would let me know that early on. And I think God He is patient, but I think He's also helps us to be prompt in our response. So if you consider being a leader and you think that's where God is leading this year, please let me know if that's possible for you. The other one is food prep, or the last one for Disciple Now is food prep. I usually have no problem finding a couple of ladies, a couple of moms to help out with food. If you're interested in doing that this year, please let me know. Traditionally, they serve 3 meals. It's usually a Saturday lunch, Saturday night supper, and then Sunday morning breakfast. That's the 3 meals. What I do with food prep is I provide whoever is helping with that, I provide them a budget and say, hey, this is how much money you have to spend on the weekend. These are the meals that you need to prepare. And then you plan the menu, you plan everything else from there. You go buy the food, you do everything from there. And then, of course, student ministry pays for it. So if you would consider helping out food prep, just let me know. So that is Disciple Now Weekend. Again, if you have any questions, just put them in the live chat bar, and I'll try to answer those questions at the end of our simulcast tonight. The next thing that's on our list, and the final thing that's on our list, is youth camp. You see youth camp waivers and forms. First, I've had a ton of students sign up for youth camp this year. I think we've got 29 students that have signed up, which it's just amazing. That's just for the Generate camp that's taking place in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. And I think we've got 5 maybe that's going to lead the cause right now, if I'm not mistaken. And so we've got a great response to camp this year. But one of the things I'm trying to get ahead of the game, one of the things I'm trying to do is I want to go ahead and try to get as many of those waivers, YM360. Let me grab one of these real quick. This YM360, I want to try to get as many of these back as possible and as many of these medical release forms back as possible. The sooner I can get these in, then the easier the planning is, the easier it is for us to continue through all the other steps of getting our students prepared for camp. So hopefully you picked up some of these whenever you pick up your parent packet. If you only have 2, or if you only have 2 forms, but maybe you've got 2 kids going, and so you need an extra form for them, there's more forms outside the youth room. So just grab as many as you need. If you mess them up, that's fine. There's plenty of forms, so we can keep making copies. I will mention, and I think actually, I mentioned this on the parent meeting notes, and you're probably aware of this if you've been to camp in the past. This YM360 form for Generate Camp, it has to be notarized. So be mindful of that before you get down to the bottom and do all the signing and stuff. You have to be before a notary before you sign that. So make sure you get that notarized. The Fairview medical release form, it just needs 2 witness signatures. And so just make sure you have a couple of people that can witness that for you, and they'll sign and date as well. I will say, for any of you who have filled out one of these in the past, these things have a year-long lease on them. So if you filled them out last year, it lasts an entire year, but they always expire before camp. So you may look at this form and go, didn't I allow you to fill this out? You probably did, but it expires after a year. I can only keep this on file for 1 year. So those are the 2 forms for camp. You'll see on the parent meeting notes that they're due May 5th. That's a long time from now. That's whenever that final camp balance is due. I would encourage you, please get these forms filled out as fast as you possibly can and get them back to me. The sooner you do it, the easier the rest of the months become. You don't have to run around looking for that form, wondering where you placed it, if you left it in your car, if you left it in your Bible, if you left it in a pew. You don't have to worry about misplacing that form if you'll just go and get it done and get it turned in to me. All right. Also with youth camps, well, I'll mention this real quick, or give me 1 second. Let me put a link over here. Like I said, I've got 29 students that are signed up for camp. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I usually try to do a very thorough job of checking deposits, checking registration forms, and making sure everything matches up. But just as a backup, because I am flawed, just like everybody else. You already saw that with me messing up the dates on this. I've got a list of all the students that have signed up for camp. If you want to follow the link that's in the live chat bar, you can follow that link to a Google Docs form, and it'll show you there all the students that are signed up. If your child is signed up, check, make sure they're on that list. They should be, but if they're not, let me know. I will also mention this about camp. We still have some more space. I'm turning my final numbers in on Monday. And so if your child was considering camp, but maybe they forgot to sign up or you forgot to get the deposit in, don't panic, don't fret. Just message me, let me know as soon as possible that they're interested, they're planning on going, get that deposit in by this Sunday, and I can still get them on that list. My final numbers will be turned in on Monday. So after that date, I can't make any changes. So if your students are interested in going to Generate Camp, that's the basic camp that we go to as a student ministry, please let me know as soon as possible if they're not already signed up. If they're should be on that list, but they're not on that list, also let me know. I want to make sure I get that corrected. Also, while I'm on camps, I want to talk about Lead the Cause for a little bit. That is our leadership camp in Chicago. I believe I have 5 students right now that are working on applications to go to Lead the Cause. Some of them were kind of last-minute decisions. I've got 10 spots for Lead the Cause. It is a phenomenal camp that our student leaders went to last year, or I should say our students went to last year to become leaders. Don't see that because I say leadership camp, don't see that as only the older students can go. Yes, I do only take a small group of students to this camp because it is a leadership camp. But at the same time, if your child, if your teen is wanting to grow into that role of leadership, they want to be challenged to grow in their faith and grow in their ability to help lead the student ministry here at Fairview. Lead the Cause is a great place. It's a great camp for them to go to. So there's still time for that. If your child is interested in joining us for that camp, just, again, let me know as soon as possible. As far as the application is concerned, they can start working on that now. That's okay. But I just need to know as soon as possible if they're interested in going. We've got 10 spots reserved for that camp, and I would love to fill all 10 spots, even if it means filling it with a couple of adults that are just interested in going with us. I'd love to fill all 10 spots because that camp, it's an impactful camp for teaching you how to share the gospel and really encouraging you to get outside that comfort zone. All right, so that is youth camp waivers and forms. And from what I have in my meeting notes, that is all of the information that I have planned on communicating with you tonight. So I'll give it a couple of seconds. Are there any questions that you have for me? I'll check my phone, see if I've got any text messages. You got somebody who did a selfie, with the live stream. Great job, Avery. Appreciate that. Any questions? I think I was told the live or the chat was about 30 seconds behind. I don't see any questions popping up. So I'm assuming that I thoroughly explained everything. That's fantastic. I don't have any other things to discuss. And so with that, that's going to bring this first ever simulcast parent meeting to a close. I take that back. I will mention one other thing. VBS, I've got it on, you can't see it, but I've got it on my whiteboard here behind me. We're already starting to plan for VBS. And so if you or your student plans on helping out with VBS this year, I would love to be made aware of it. I would love to know, because I'd love to go ahead and pass it on to Melissa Zatina so she can start planning even more for VBS and start putting them into a position. I'm actually trying to get a couple of my student leaders to help lead the sixth and 7th grade class this year. And so if your student is planning on helping out with VBS, or if you plan on helping out with VBS, please pass that information along to me or Melissa Zatina. We're already starting to build our volunteer forms now, and we're already starting to plan for it. It's going to be a phenomenal time this year. And so that's just one thing, just kind of a side note. All right, I'm seeing some things coming in over here. Okay, I see. Yeah. Looks like everybody just said they enjoyed the simulcast. So phenomenal. Well, all right. Well, with that, I'm just going to say have a great rest of the night. Thanks for joining us. And we'll probably do it again sometime. All right. Have a great night. I don't know how to end the stream. There you go.